Have you ever felt those moments when someone's words or actions have hurt you, ignored you, or insulted you? Some words pierce like a sword. Some rude gestures ignite a fire in your heart and swallow your peace. You immediately feel like responding. Prove that you are not weak. Protect your dignity or strike back so that balance is maintained. But when it is all over, you find yourself tired and full of regret. You mourn the patience and peace that was lost. If you have felt this way, know that you are not alone. We all have gone through this phase. The Stoicism that has stood the test of time for thousands of years suggests a simple but effective solution to this: silence. In today's world, where it has become common to react immediately to everything, silence can become a tremendous power. It not only saves you from unnecessary turmoil, but also helps you connect with yourself and feel better. The things you are going to hear here are not just thoughts. They are lessons from Stoicism's teachings and my own life experiences. Every part of this video can change the way you think and the way you see the world around you. If you are ready to understand the power of Mohan, if you want that no one can insult you, then comment below "Unshakable Warrior." So give yourself a chance. Sit in silence for a while, listen carefully, and do not miss any part of this journey, because this may be the beginning that will make you realize your true inner power. Now let's go on this journey together. First, they want your reaction. When someone insults us, they want only one thing from us: reaction. At such times, we feel like responding immediately. The heart gets hurt, anger boils, we feel the need to prove ourselves right. We feel that we should respond by speaking or in some way. But wait for a moment. Stop and think. Will your response bring about any real change? Or are you just walking into the trap they have set for you? Stoic philosophy teaches us that real power is in being able to control yourself in the moment. Silence can be a powerful choice instead of reacting, a choice that lifts you above unnecessary negativity and confusion. People who behave abusively are often looking for a reaction. It's their way of asserting their power. Their words have no real value. They are just bait to draw you into their negative circle. But when you choose silence, you refuse to be a part of their game, and they are then confronted by their own behavior. This kind of silence is not a sign of weakness, but a declaration that you do not have the power to rule my emotions. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his book Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not over external events. Understand this, and you will find true power. True power is where you can control your thoughts and feelings. Imagine you are sitting in a meeting and a colleague criticizes you in front of everyone. His words are harsh. His tone is insulting. His aim is to humiliate you. Naturally, you feel like answering him immediately or proving yourself right, but you remain silent. Your face remains steady. Your eyes are fixed on him, but your lips do not move. Slowly, silence spreads in the room. Everyone starts realizing how different your calmness and control are from that person's excitement and bitterness. In that silence, you have shifted the focus from yourself to his behavior. Without saying a word, you have won. Epictetus. People are not defined by their actions, but by our own reactions. When you observe silence, you do not just protect your inner peace, but also offer that silence as a mirror, the person who insulted you. He sees himself in that mirror, feels his own insignificance and mental unrest, and this feeling hurts more than any argument or debate. When you have no explanation or excuse, then you are crushed under the burden of your own words and deeds. But choosing silence is not easy. Our nature urges us to react immediately, but whenever you put silence above reaction or reply, then you prove that your worth is not linked to the respect of anyone else. Silence is the smartest move. It is a message to you. Insults do not have enough power to affect me. So ask yourself, should I really respond to those words which have no value? Is my energy worth spending on such a person who does not deserve it? Remember, silence is not a weakness, but a sign of the greatest strength and intelligence. When you refrain from responding to insults, when you refuse, you declare that I am the master of my feelings and no one else. In this silence, you not only rise above the situation, but also make the insulter feel that their behavior can only harm them and not you. And with this calmness, you win in your own way. What will you do the next time someone insults you? Will you respond the way they expect? Or will you choose the path of wisdom and strength? The decision is yours. But always remember that your calmness is your most precious asset. Protect it. Not every battle is worth fighting. When someone insults you, they want only one thing from you: a reaction, an angry response, a retort, or just a slight pain in your eyes. Any of these reactions is a reward for them. But pause for a moment and think. Is getting involved in this fight really worth your time and energy? Will there be any real benefit from it? Or is it just a futile game that wastes your precious peace and attention? Stoic philosophy teaches us to be more careful and considerate. Teaches you that the way to win every battle is not to respond. Sometimes the real victory is achieved by remaining silent and keeping yourself away from unnecessary arguments. It is not necessary to react in every situation. Not every battle is worth fighting. Make your peace your biggest weapon and your silence your strongest strength. Insults only work when we allow it to enter our mind. If you stop reacting, you not only protect your mental peace but also send a message to the other person that your words have no effect on his face. Imagine you are standing in a queue in a busy cafe amidst the morning bustle. Just as your turn is about to come, suddenly a person standing behind you pushes you ahead. There is a challenging look in his eyes as if he is provoking you to react. Anger starts boiling inside you. Feel like saying in a harsh tone, "Sorry, this is my place," but you stop. Take a deep breath and tell yourself their behavior defines them. The person starts to order, but then the cashier pays attention to him and asks you who is the next customer. You move ahead with a light smile, place the order, and move ahead. Now the person who broke the line must be feeling angry with his own rudeness. He expected that you would get angry and create a ruckus. But you changed the game with your patience and calmness. Remember, silence is not weakness. It is true strength. It is the power that keeps your dignity intact, even if others lose their dignity. In the end, you leave the cafe with not only your coffee, but also your peace. Many times when someone insults us, he is not actually saying anything about us, but he is expressing his own insecurity, his own pride, or his own anger. When you refuse to react, you force them to remain entangled in their own negativity. Now they are left with no excuse, no such excuse with which they can hide the blame for their mistake. They can only blame themselves for their own behavior. Stoicism does not teach us to remain silent at all costs, but rather encourages us to carefully decide which fights are worth our energy. Sometimes keeping the peace is the greatest victory. Think of how many times you have seen your closest relationships argue over trivial matters. Many fights escalate because we or the other person cannot control our emotions, but if you take a deep breath and look at the situation calmly, you may realize that the argument was not necessary. Silence does not mean tolerance. It is an opportunity to understand things correctly and respond intelligently. Stoicism believes that true freedom is achieved when we do not allow others to play with our emotions. When you choose silence, you are not just avoiding negativity, you are proving that you have control over your own emotions. It is your way of saying, "I am above this, not someone else's. Even the enemy can't bring me down below my level." Marcus Aurelian wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." If you remain silent, you not only win over yourself, but also force the other person to face their own failure. Your silence is your strength. It is the right way to maintain dignity. If you have read this far and still have questions or have an experience you would like to share, I invite you to write in the comments below. Let us together find the best solutions to these problems. Every person's journey is different, and your thoughts can be an inspiration for someone else. Now let's move on to the next lesson. Understand the difference between reacting and responding. When you refuse to get involved in a pointless fight, it doesn't mean that you are weak or that you don't care. It means that you are saving your energy and attention for things that really matter. No matter how wisely you avoid unnecessary conflicts, there will still be situations where the question is not just whether you should respond, but how you should respond. React and reply may look similar, but there is a profound difference between them. React is born out of emotion. Haste is born out of anger and impulse. A reply is given after careful thought with calmness, patience, and understanding. Understanding the difference not only helps you deal better with humiliating situations, but also protects your dignity and values. It is easy to react under the influence of emotions. We get angry when someone insults us or disrespects us. Rude words or stupid actions of others can hurt us, and we feel like responding immediately. But the question is, will this give the result we want, or will it just make the situation more stressful? On the contrary, responding is a well-thought-out step. It prompts us to pause, reflect, and then choose a path that is in line with our values and objectives. This is where intelligence shows us the way. Is it true? Stoics teach us that it is not necessary to react to every provocation. Rather, we should focus only on those things that really matter. Silence is the most powerful response. In Stoic philosophy, silence is considered an effective response. Many people consider silence as a weakness, but in reality, it is a sign of restraint and inner strength. When you respond to someone's abusive words with silence, you show that your negative words cannot affect my mental peace. Silence does not mean that you are ignoring something. Rather, it forces the other person to face his behavior without any reaction from you. Imagine someone close to you is venting anger at you for some reason. Your natural inclination would be to respond to them in the same anger. But what if you listen calmly and then move away without giving any aggressive reaction? After some time, when that person calms down, he himself will realize that he behaved inappropriately. This silence is the best way to save that relationship. Silence can be a way. Thus, silence does not mean leaving a relationship. Rather, it is a way to maintain respect and give the other person an opportunity to realize his mistake. But it is not always right to remain silent. It is not appropriate to remain silent in every situation. Sometimes, if you remain silent, people may consider it as your consent. Therefore, it is important to understand when it is right to remain silent and when it is necessary to speak. If something goes against your dignity or values, then you should definitely speak, but not in anger or hurry, but with peace and understanding. Stoics teach us that as much as it is important to remain silent, it is equally important to speak at the right time and in the right manner. By doing this, not only do you maintain your dignity, but it also improves your relationships. Silence is an opportunity for self-connection. Silence is not just a reaction, it is also an opportunity to connect with yourself. When you remain silent, you can think deeply about what is really important. Is it really worth my attention? Should I disturb my mental peace by reacting to it? Seneca said that the person who is courageous is truly free. True freedom comes only when we do not let anyone else control our emotions. Silence is a way to get freedom. A hasty reaction often becomes a cause of regret. While a well-thought-out answer is a symbol of wisdom and maturity, if silence is adopted correctly, it can become the biggest protector of your inner peace and dignity. So the next time someone insults you or provokes you, ask if it is worth disturbing my peace. If the answer is no, then just let silence be your answer, because sometimes silence is more powerful than any words. Fourth, do not let others dominate you. When you start understanding the difference between reaction and answer, you will. It is realized that it is not necessary to react immediately in every situation. The answer given in the flow of emotions is often full of impulse, whereas the answer given after thinking calmly shows wisdom. It is in that small pause where your true power lies. Will you control your emotions, or will you allow others to disturb your mental balance? Theistic philosophy teaches us that the real power is not in defeating others, but in winning yourself. The person who can control his emotions is the one who is truly free. Are you handing over the reins of your emotions to others? Many times people try to free your mood and mental peace because the person who is not affected by the words and actions of others is the one who is truly free. So the next time when someone tries to provoke you, ask yourself this question: is it really worth disturbing my peace? If the answer is no, then just let silence be your answer, because sometimes your silence is the biggest answer. Fifth, silence changes everything. When you do not let others dominate your thoughts and feelings, you regain full control over your mind. This is the power that no one can take away from you without your permission. But what happens when you face insult or contempt? Silence at such moments is not just a way to maintain self-control, but it also becomes a powerful tool to change the situation completely. Silence is not an escape. It is a conscious decision to rise above, maintain your peace, and restore your self-esteem. It is like a pause in music, a thoughtful silence that brings dignity and logic to the fore instead of impulsive reactions. Silence doesn't just protect you, it changes everything. When you respond to an insult with silence, it is not a sign of weakness or defeat. Rather, it shows that you are the master of your emotions and do not give anyone the power to demoralize you. Imagine you have worked hard for weeks on a project. When you present it in a team meeting, a colleague mocks your plan without thinking and says something wrong with it. Free your mood and mental peace, because the person who is not affected by the words and actions of others is the one who is truly free. So the next time when someone tries to provoke you, ask yourself this question: is it really worth disturbing my peace? If the answer is no, then just let silence be your answer, because sometimes your silence is the biggest answer. Fifth, silence changes everything. When you do not let others dominate your thoughts and feelings, you regain full control over your mind. This is the power that no one can take away from you without your permission. But what happens when you face insult or contempt? Silence at such moments is not just a way to maintain self-control, but it also becomes a powerful tool to change the situation completely. Silence is not an escape. It is a conscious decision to rise above, maintain your peace, and restore your self-esteem. It is like a pause in music, a thoughtful silence that brings dignity and logic to the fore instead of impulsive reactions. Silence doesn't just protect you, it changes everything. When you respond to an insult with silence, it is not a sign of weakness or defeat. Rather, it shows that you are the master of your emotions and do not give anyone the power to demoralize you. Imagine you have worked hard for weeks on a project. When you present it in a team meeting, a colleague mocks your plan without thinking and says something wrong with it. It is not special either. Anger and insult may be boiling inside you, but what if instead of reacting immediately, you just keep quiet? In this moment of silence, you get a chance to control your emotions and think, is this criticism really worth paying attention to, or is it just a momentary reaction? Silence saves you from unnecessary confrontation and forces the other person to reconsider his words. And when you finally respond, your calmness and restraint make you more impressive and admirable. Silence defines respect. Silence makes it clear that you will not give others the right to treat you in a wrong way. It is the most effective way to show a rude person that you will not accept his negativity. Another example is a child who is repeatedly told by parents that nothing will happen to you. If he responds with anger, then it may make the relationship more tense. But if he remains silent, then it sends a message that I will not let your negativity affect my self-esteem. Let it happen. It is in this silence that a person gets the opportunity to introspect and find a way to move forward. Silence is an invincible shield. Sometimes a stranger humiliates you in public. He shouts in anger, makes baseless accusations, and tries to provoke you. If you react by getting trapped in his trap, then you are handing over your mental peace to him. But if you just remain calm and move on without saying anything, then you give the message that your words cannot affect my self-respect. Silence is a means of controlling anger. Seneca says that if anger is not controlled, it can harm us more than the injury that caused it. So when someone tries to provoke you in anger, find the strength within yourself so that you can make silence your answer. This will protect your self-respect, and your mind will also remain calm. Silence is the rediscovery of self-worth. Silence gives you the space to think about who you are and what kind of life you want to adopt. You have to prove yourself in front of someone like that. Don't waste time debating what a good person should be. Like Marcus Aurelian says, be a good person. Instead of focusing on the criticism or misunderstanding of others, focus on improving your character and conduct. When you remain silent, you remain true to your values without being influenced by the opinions of others. Silence is an expression of freedom. The next time someone insults you, ask yourself, what can this silence preserve for me? Do I really need to respond? Silence is not a sign of weakness, but of self-control and dignity. It not only protects you from external conflicts, but also gives you the freedom to channel your energy in the right direction. Because the person who is not affected by anyone's words is the one who is truly free. Sixth, set boundaries with silence. Silence is not just a way to control emotions, it is a wordless declaration of your values and boundaries. When you choose to remain silent in the face of insult, You are not just protecting your peace, but you are also protecting your own peace. You are sending a powerful message. No one can cross my boundaries. It is neither escape nor weakness, but a way of determining how others will treat you. Silence is a silent declaration of respect. Imagine you are at an informal gathering with friends, and suddenly someone makes an insensitive or insulting remark. The attention of the crowd turns to you, and anger rises inside you. But instead of reacting impulsively, you smile and say nothing and turn the conversation in some other direction as if the remark was never made. Your restraint changes the atmosphere. Now the person who tried to provoke you starts feeling uncomfortable because he did not get the response he wanted from you. This is the silence in which your power lies. It becomes a mark of maturity and confidence. Silence is a means of maintaining your dignity. It is a way of refusing to get involved in petty quarrels. Without saying a word, you make it clear, I will not stoop to my level. Epithets say, if you are an outsider, if you are looking for validation, understand that you have already lost your integrity. Define your self-image through silence. Criticism and insults can only hurt you if you choose to give them importance. When you choose not to respond, you are saying, you cannot define me. My worth does not depend on your approval. Silence becomes a resistance, an expression of self-respect, rejecting the need for external approval, bearing witness to your own worth. Silence is the most powerful weapon of all. When used correctly, silence becomes an invincible power. It is not defeat, but a declaration that you know what you want and what you should not accept. Many people can judge you. Silence may be mistaken for weakness, but over time it becomes a voice more powerful than any argument, because the truth always comes out and the echo of silence travels farther than any impulsive reply. Silence is a way to protect your boundaries. Silence is not insensitive. It is not a refusal to communicate. It is a way to protect your heart from unnecessary hurt. When you decide to remain silent, you prevent anger and negativity from disturbing your peace. You carefully decide which topics to focus on and which to ignore. It is not passivity but wisdom. It is freedom from the chaos of external influences. Silence writes your own story. When you remain silent, you do not allow anyone else to define your personality. Ask yourself, do I want to be a person who is easily influenced by what others say or do? I want to be a person who is calm, confident, and steadfast. Your silence will become a proof of your dignity, tolerance, and inner strength. Silence is a way to protect your boundaries. Clarify yourself. The next time someone insults you, ask yourself, do I really need to respond to this? Is it worth my energy and time? Remember, silence, not retaliation, is your most effective weapon. Express your commitment now. Write in the comments, I am also a steadfast warrior, so that the whole world knows. No one will cross my limits. No one will disturb my peace. I am in complete control of my life. Silence is the highest expression of self-respect. It is not surrender, but a powerful declaration that you understand your worth and you do not need anyone else's approval. That is it. Silence is the knowledge on which our whole journey rests, the place where peace and inner strength guide your decisions. Seventh, find yourself in silence. Silence is not just a tool to set boundaries, but also an opportunity to rediscover yourself. When you refuse to respond to insults or provocations, you are not just getting away from the chaos, but also creating a space where you can reflect. In that quiet moment, you are able to see what is really important. It is not just about protecting yourself. It is about finding your true self. Silence is the key to self-understanding. Stoic philosophy teaches us not only how to be silent in front of others, but also how to adopt silence as a tool for self-knowledge. In that stillness, you not only find peace, but also rediscover the values and principles that define you. The gift of silence. When someone insults you, your natural reaction may be anger, sadness, or self-doubt. Their harsh words may make you feel as if they have violated your most valued beliefs. If someone has attacked you, then pause and ask yourself, what will happen if I do not react immediately? What will change if I choose silence? Silence in such moments is not just a self-control, but it gives you an opportunity to look inside yourself by stepping away from emotional turmoil. Silence is a chance to identify your true priorities. In this quiet period, you can ask, what do I really stand for? What do I find really important? If you value kindness, will angry words make you stronger? If you value peace, will anger make you feel justified, or will it leave you more disturbed? Epictetus says if someone succeeds in provoking you, then understand that your intelligence has also been a participant in that provocation. The power of any insult or criticism remains only till the time you acknowledge it. In silence, you take back that power. Silence is a mirror of self-respect. Silence is not just a means of not getting involved in chaos. It is a mirror that shows who you are, what you really believe. Respect is not something that can be taken away from you by someone simply insulting you. Your sense of self-worth cannot be destroyed by a few fleeting words. In that quiet moment, you realize that inner peace does not come from proving others right, but from being true to your true self. Is reacting really the solution? Think about the last time someone insulted you. If you reacted, did that bring you peace? And if you remained silent, did that silence make you stronger? Stoic philosophy does not ask us to run away from conflict. Rather, it teaches us to face chaos in a way that does not blur our true self. Silence is not a retreat, but a strength. It gives you the ability to stand firm on the values you believe in. Silence is the strongest form of self-assertion in today's world, filled with noise, pressure, and disrespect. Silence is not just an action. It is a declaration that you know who you are, that you don't need to prove anything to anyone. A declaration that you choose to protect your peace of mind. Discover yourself through silence. The next time someone insults you, pause for a moment and ask yourself, is it worth losing my peace? Remember, silence is not only a way to keep your power, but also a path to rediscovering yourself. Conclusion: embrace the power of silence. We've just discovered 7 deep reasons why silence is one of the most powerful tools we have, especially when we're faced with disrespect, regaining emotional control, affirming your self-worth. Setting clear boundaries. Silence is not an escape. It's the purest form of empowerment. Remember, you don't need to react